Approximately 6 miles west of Beloit, Wisconsin, and about 1/2 mile north of the Wisconsin-Illinois state line, is located the Beckman Mill. Originally called House Mill and later Newark Mills. It was built in 1868 on the east bank of Coon Creek in Rock County's Newark Township. Early records and oral histories indicate that a distillery preceded the mill. It was built in 1845 by Charles F. H. Goodhue Jr. of Beloit and was very successful until it was destroyed by fire in 1853. 15 years later, a grist mill was constructed on the site of the distillery by millwright William Howe. Howe operated the mill himself for several years before selling it to Lewis Hyde and Elias Teal. In 1882, it was acquired by William T. Kelly, a neighboring farmer. Later that year, Kelly deeded it to Catherine Beckman, wife of Carl Ferdinand August Beckman. Beckman was previously a miller at Judah and at Hanover, both in southern Wisconsin. August, or Gus as he was called, had immigrated to the United States in the late 1850s. For the name of his new mill, August chose Newark Mills, which became not only a place to have grain ground but also an ideal gathering place for its customers. From 1890 to 1892, there was a very practical reason for stopping by the mill since it was the Newark post office with August's son Henry as postmaster. Visitors today will notice the replicated 1890s letterbox and a copy of Henry's postmaster's certificate hanging on the wall. Following the passing of their father in 1908, Charles and Henry took over the operation of the mill. At that time, they bought out their brother-in-law, Herman Grunke, who had been a partner with August since 1893. Together, using the name Beckman Brothers, they ran the mill during the teens, 20s, and 30s, shelling and grinding corn and producing buckwheat flour. Packaged in 5, 10, and 20-pound paper bags identified as strictly pure fresh ground buckwheat flour, the product was sold at the mill to merchants in nearby towns and door-to-door in area communities. In the early 1920s, realizing that the mill and dam were showing their age, Charlie and Henry, with the help of their neighbors, embarked on a major improvement project. It involved the replacement of the wooden dam with a concrete one and a major renovation of the mill. Included were new siding, windows, roofing and a drive-through for protection from the elements. For storage and to house an auxiliary power source, additions were built on the mill's south side. Upon the death of his brother Henry in 1939, Charlie continued to operate the mill on his own until the mid-1950s with a 2-year hiatus during World War II when he was employed at Fairbanks Morse in Beloit. In the late 1950s, a new roof was installed, which served to preserve the structure. Around that time, the mill was rented to a neighboring farmer for the storage of baled hay. In 1977, the mill was placed on the National Register of Historic Places, and 1 year later, in 1978, the Beckman family sold it and their 10-acre property to Rock County. The county secured the building, but was unable financially to begin a restoration. In 1990, Friends of Beckman Mill Incorporated was formed, and shortly thereafter volunteers from that organization began the restoration.